Welcome back. It's the conversation still on Modern Spring, and we have been looking at the oil sector focus on the PMS, Premium Motor Spirit, also known as petrol. The Dangote refinery was what we talked about in the first leg of the conversation. And right now, we will be moving to the recent increase in pump price by the NNPCL. Nigerians were greeted with new prices ranging from 865 or 855 to 900, depending on the sites or the location you are in. And we are going to be looking at the consequential effects of this hike on the average Nigerian. A lot of Nigerians are groaning and they are complaining, lamenting at this time, saying that this is not what they bargained for. We still have with us Comrade Lanre Fadahunsi with us in the studio. So let me just ask you directly, how did you receive the new pump price, the increase in the pump price, especially by the NNPCL? Because a lot of people said, okay, NNPC might be selling for 865, but other were buying at 1211, 1001, 1002, 1003 from other marketers, other filling stations. What was it like for you?
Well, it was a root shock. Root shock, not that the price went that way, but a root shock because it was still an NPC again determining the price. Do you understand? Because all the while, Nigerians kept saying that subsidy was back.
Mm.
In various ways, the government and the NNPC were calling it different names, but definitely saying there is no subsidy because they are not paying to anybody. Invariably, that goes to translate that all this while, Nigerians need to really know who are the beneficiaries of the differentials that were being paid before when they were paying subsidy. I didn't expect anything. I said it when the penultimate days of Buhari, when they were rejoicing and they were all going to Dangote's refinery to celebrate, that, wait a minute, I didn't see any celebratory reason for this because it's a private business. And so the strong point of it for me would have been a functional refinery belonging to the nation. Because Dangote entity was private entity. So long before now, even before, not necessarily talking about the Tinubu administration, during the Buhari administration, I was not excited to say a private company was coming to do what the government entities should have been doing. It should have been competitive enough that you who want to buy from NNPC because of the low pricing, because of our refineries that produce them, you can be in queue of like 5, 6 vehicles, but those who want to drive in and out can go to private stations and buy at a fairly higher price because government is still supposed to regulate the volume of profit you can make on product. But all of those things are absent, and it now became the same NNPC sole distributor too. Doesn't look good. And I've driven on streets of different states in recent times, and I've seen a lot of trucks, brand new. Some claim they are CNG trucks of Dangote. So it means Dangote himself prepared himself to even distribute his products. But at what point in the discussion did they decide they were going to be the sole buyer? Because it means this is the number of millions of liters you have produced, and so we are buying the whole chunk of you at your price. I'm very sure Dangote's price is not the NNPC price that we have now.
So do you think when Dangote comes on board, it's going to be, a reduction in the price from what
it was supposed to be, but right now it has not shown that's coming in any effect soon. It doesn't. The reason why I'm not so happy about this is that we don't tend to hold people accountable enough. Do you get? Because this oil and gas thing has been a terrible lacuna on our economy for a long time. And we are not getting out of it. Enki Lopubri, like last year, December, was almost boasting that by January, The refinery that was refunded, it was refunded. They funded it again. It was not the Buhari payment. It was a payment under this administration that employed Enikin Lopobiri as Minister of State for Petroleum. And here we are. That was January 2023. January 2024. Here we are, August. No refinery is functioning.
September has been set again.
September, that was set. I have not seen any indices that will be, because in some quarters, if you have read it, they are now talking about who wants to take over Kaduna and Port Harcourt. It's up for grabs now for private entities that want to run. And what happens to those billions of dollars that were released? And for a Meleki that said, at the right time, I will tell you the truth. And so people can sift and we know some truths out of discussions.
Are you expecting any truth, per se, from such a statement?
I will tell you some that I have analyzed. The analysis of what everybody was telling themselves. Dangote, we are told, your products are not good enough. Your refinery is not ready enough. And the guy went to press and said, wait, some of you guys own a Malta base where you not refine, you bleach and bring product to Nigeria. Almost immediately, the Nigerian government said, okay, we will give you oil. Beyond that, we will even give you Naira. Somebody that you said his refinery was not good. Is it not right to have held the man that came public to say his products were not good? The refinery was 45% ready. Is it not a director of one of the subsidiaries of NNPC? NNPPR. So is it not right in a sane environment to call that person to book? And that's what they told us about Malta. And some people are saying Oando belongs to somebody who is close to Mr. President. And that the same Oando that had a stock of 6 Naira in 2022 has a stock price at 89 today. Has become a trillion market dealing entity. Personally, I told the mechanic to go and buy me Oando ATF for gear oil. And he said, that's the best. I said, please go and bring me. And he came with an NNPC keg of oil, 4 liters. I said, wait a minute, am I stupid? You told me, Oando, why are you bringing this? He said, it's the same now. In this, so people are interrogating, they're asking questions.
You know, because of time, Evelyn asked about the consequential effect. Now, the price of transportation from point A to point B, that maybe before now, just like a few days ago or last week, you remember the Q thing has been with us for like 2 weeks or thereabouts.
Yes,
before this announcement from the NNPCL again. So let's say a year ago, from point A to point B was 100 Naira. Now, because of the removal of the subsidy payment and everything, it has maybe 200 Naira. Between last week and this week, today, it has become 250, 300 Naira. Now, these are the issues. And you know the skyrocketing effect. If actually somebody is selling vegetable and he or she was moving the product for 100 Naira last year, all of a sudden she or she is moving in 300 Naira now, the buyer is the one that we pay.
Of course.
Obviously. So, and we're talking about poverty. Now, under Buhari, it was 133 million people that were multidimensionally poor. Now, your guess is as good as mine if actually we have a figure of how many persons, how many millions of Nigerians are multidimensionally poor right now because of these things. Nigerians are saying the removal of the subsidy, you promised us availability. You promised us that, okay, we will have bigger gains to reap in the future. Now, subsidy has been removed. The CFO of the NNPCL at their last press briefing about their staff, audit of 2023 said, what people are calling subsidy, they have not been paying for almost a year, 9 months. Nobody has collected anything. That the only thing they are handling is shortfall. And Nigerians are saying, well, excuse me, is that another coinage of a word that is not subsidy? It is shortfall. So Nigerians are saying the subsidy removal policy of the president, obviously, in some people's mind, it has failed. Some are even confused what is what at this time. Affordability is a problem because people don't have enough money to do that. Accessibility is now a problem. So what has happened to this policy?
The policy...
Now that we even have 865, 900 Naira, 1,000, depending on where you are buying.
the average reality is 1,000. Some who are selling at 950 are selling their old product.
So where does
no new tanker has driven into their station?
So where does this put Nigerians?
Now, Nigerians have been under the bus in the last 1 year plus because we all knew so many things were wrong in the management of our oil resources by the Buhari administration. But it's even worse off now because it has not translated into any positive result in the life of the people. The subsidy was gone. There was discussion about minimum wage to cushion the effect. And what we saw was a 70,000 naira offering. Now, the major reason adduced for trying to remove subsidy was that, oh, we don't want to cause pain for Nigerians, but our neighboring countries, our oil is, PMS is selling better there, so people are smuggling it out. And we want to prevent that. Fine. So you want the price to go up so that those ones will not be interested in coming to take our PMS. But we don't want to use it to cause pain for the citizens of Nigeria who own the oil, right? So you now brought 30,000 minimum wage that was equivalent to $125 to 70,000 that is now equivalent to $43. Have you improved on the life of those people? Has it not affected or demeaned their humanity on account of that? So that policy was a failure on arrival.
Yeah, Mr. Fadahunsi, let me quickly add so that because of time now, your constituency, and I'm saying that carefully, the Labour, NLC, they are crying foul, and the word they use is betrayal. Mr. President, the federal government, you have betrayed us. You gave us an option of picking 250,000 naira with increased pump price, or you take 70,000 naira and we leave the pump price as it is. They said through Joe Ajero, Festus Osifo, every
all of them,
to say we'd rather stick with 70,000 naira and have the pump price remain as it is. Now they have been given 70,000 naira. Less than 2 months, the pump have been increased, and they are shouting betrayal.
Yeah. And at the time,
and it is reported this morning, the presidency are saying such conversation never happened. So who do we believe? Who do we
such conversation about
never happened of the choice of pick 250,000 naira and let me increase the pump price, or pick 70,000 naira and we leave it like that. Labour said it happened. The presidency has made
Labour did not just start saying it happened. That was the explanation of Labour where they did their gbosa.
Yeah.
It was public. Where was this presidency spokespersons?
Evelyn read it this morning.
No, where were they then?
We didn't have
when Labour said that, it was not controverted. But they knew, Mr. President is back there in China, signing some road network memorandum of understanding. I think Lagos State government was signing that, and he was holding bilateral.
But do you call that a betrayal? Because Nigerians are saying, we don't want to have it. Don't tell us anything. You had your cake and you have eaten it. Is it a betrayal, really?
Yeah, well, I know it's like, at some point, Labour said, look, we want to backtrack. Don't go ahead in implementing this 70,000. Because they have seen the signs, ominous signs around it, that, look, this oil thing is going up, not as promised. They wrote it in their communique sent to state unions and all, that by our agreement, the presidency has agreed they were not going to raise the pump price of PMS further, and they will make the products available. But here we are. Even the one domesticated here is coming at a higher price. So what do we do about the one that is even coming from outside? So if an NPC has stood all over the one that is being had here, definitely if people want to go and source from outside, it definitely will go much higher.
All right, Comrade Fadahunsi,
it will go much higher.
As we question, what is the hope for the common man at this time? Because they are at the receiving end of all of this. How do people survive? The people barely survived when the pump price was at 650. Now it's 800, between 800 to 900. How do people survive?
Yes. You see, there's this cliche, survival of the fittest. But now there are divergent necessities about human survival. This is a nation, I am saying this publicly, that has not come up with real plans for the millions of graduates that graduate school on a yearly basis. No engagement, no plan of giving them what they have to do. That is on one side. And the populace that are trying to struggle and work have little or no hope of how this will be. Then the next thing is burden upon burden. Unfortunately, the system will get to a point and it will not be able to hold. Now, when we were saying, look, government is better, talk to organized labor. There is something prefixing their name, organized. And labor said, Busa, see what happened in the first few days of the protest. And they are saying they have another in October. Some are saying don't talk about it, it could be any time. That is what comes when there appears to be incoherence in activities of government. That's number one. Number two, in a nation, between that time of protest and now, was when we realized that, as a matter of fact, the basic income of our national officers of the assembly is about 1 million, and their allowances is about 20 million monthly. In the same nation that people are being kept in this abysmal low level, the people will liberate themselves one way or the other. The divergent necessity I'm talking about is one, you as a human being want to work. You look for work necessarily everywhere, even as many as possible. If you don't get, you are inclined to beg. That's another necessity for you. When you beg and nobody is giving, you can't watch yourself die. You do something about it. So the negatives are the things that our younger generation are calling hustle now. They call it hustle. They prostitute and call it hustle. They call it doing runs.
So you think it will open up for more vices?
Vices are getting traction. So I can make money doing this. Do you get? Some people's orientation and all gave them opportunities even to do online stuff that can get them money. You understand? Young people. And somebody somewhere is saying, this is some money somewhere in dollars. Somebody will say, okay, like for instance, I have people who do editing of wedding ceremonies, of events and all, for people who hold their events in the US, who might need about $2,000 to do editing and packaging. They just send the material to a young man in Nigeria who knows how to do it, and he gets $200 in a week. Those are the dollars trapped now because government is saying we don't know how they are doing crypto, we don't know how they are getting all this. You get, what kind of orientation or mindset do you think such young people will have?
Right.
No, it's not everybody doing this online thing that are doing Yahoo. No. Do you get what you cannot offer them? They try to get somebody has told me, hey, bro, you do editing, you do publishing, you can do it for people here in the US and they can pay you. So it means it is not everything, but me, I'm not savvy to that. I can learn it because I know it pays well. You understand? So these outlets are still being blocked because the forex is not coming directly through government, like remittances from people who want to send money home from those places. That is what government is relying on for a supply of forex for the governance. Now, what we are praying that will not happen is for anarchy. You understand? Because if the people now have to take laws into their hands to salvage themselves from the situation on ground, it will not be interesting. Unfortunately, a lot of innocent people will suffer in that process.
All right, we'd like to thank you, especially Comrade Lanre, Fadahunsi, Public Affairs Analyst, for your thoughts, your takes, and submissions this morning. It's always a pleasure to have you in our
Thanks for having me.
All right, and that's where we pull the brakes on the show this morning. We have been talking about issues that affect us as a people, and I know that it might be tough and hard for you at this time, but just hang in there. Things will definitely get better. I know it might sound like a cliche, but just keep up the hopes. It will turn around and get better. My name is Evelyn Ohiolei. We'll meet again on Morning Spring tomorrow, but of course, stay tuned for Spring Trends coming right after this broadcast.
And of course, Femi Ojo is my name, as Evelyn is, advising you to hang in there, please stay alive, so that you can hang in there as well. Tomorrow will be the TJIF edition. You go have a recap of this program on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. God bless Nigeria. Bye.